Hello, and welcome to Totally Schway, a podcast about the DCAU and whatever the hell else I want it to be about. My name's Mary.
And my name is Luke.
First off, I would like to apologize for not having this up on Sunday. I did not feel well, and honestly, I think it was good that I stayed in bed most of the day. And I feel a lot better now. So thank you guys for understanding.
Mm-hmm.
How are you, Luke?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. I trust that you're feeling better.
Yeah, I just said that too. So today, or the second thing I want to talk about today is that, wait, when is the Clayface thing coming out?
The movie?
Yeah.
October.
Oh, I thought, okay, never mind then.
Well, maybe you want to talk about how the trailer came out.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
Unbelievable.
You know this. Like, we've known each
Yeah,
other.
but we always watch the trailers for the superhero movies, and you get mad at me if I watch them without you.
Well, I say like Supergirl and Superman and stuff like that. The Marvel ones, I'm like, meh, I like to be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look up any Marvel movie before it comes out, especially like nowadays, because it's so, a part of people's life, really,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get spoilers, even though the movie doesn't come out for like, what, 2 months or something like that. So I try not to do that, and I'm more surprised, and I'm not expecting anything.
I see.
Yeah, but the Two-Face one, or not Two-Face, I keep saying Two-Face. I do this all of the time. The Clayface one, I probably will watch, but gotta be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
this one I am looking forward to more than I thought I was going to be. Because I've seen some stills from it. The imagery stills.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, it I think they're probably gonna do a good job. And if they don't, I don't know what to do.
Well,
It's such a great character to have a movie about.
the reason why I was going to say that, well, I was going to bring this up if you didn't anyway, but it is very heavily inspired by Batman the Animated Series, but they make some significant changes. So he's actor Matt Hagen,
Hmm.
and he does get disfigured, but he's not disfigured in an accident. Gangsters cut his face off, basically, or cut his face up.
Okay.
And then he is, it seems like he's a test subject for this new treatment that is used to regenerate his face, but it turns him into a monster. So they're kind of shifting the.
Is this a tale of celebrities messing up their faces for
Yes.
vanity?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just sometimes it goes too far. And if you're in an accident, for example, like Montgomery Clift,
Mm-hmm.
he had his face fixed, obviously, for more than just vanity reasons. Um, but it was never the same. Like,
No.
I mean, not his face. Like, there are some times I don't even, think about that when you're, watching The Defector or um, some of his older movies. Not older movies, later movies. But there are some celebrities that have a perfectly fine face that mess it up because they think that either it's something isn't like asymmetrical or they're older. And honestly, I think people are so good these days at not taking it too far, but it needs to be said.
Well, when last I looked on the YouTube page for the main upload of the trailer, it's had over 10 million views.
Wow.
Yeah, so it seems like it's generating some hype. I've seen a lot of interest in some of my older Clayface videos as well, so thanks Warner Brothers for that. I've almost forgiven you for trying to copyright claim so many of them.
And by the way, Warner Brothers, Clayface 2, or any other film, I have been told that my voice is kind of annoying. So if you have anything of like annoying voice characters you need to uh, hire for, Consider this my audition.
Well, I was going to say they filmed the Clayface film around the corner from well, they filmed it in Liverpool, but around the corner from where who was it?
That's becoming the new standard in DC stuff is filming in Liverpool, isn't it? That's pretty cool.
Well, filming in the UK at least, because we offer tax incentives and they don't have to pay workers' healthcare
And it
over
looks
here.
amazing.
Yeah, and it does look pretty good. I mean, they did film some of the Batman in Liverpool and
Hmm.
Glasgow and other locations in the UK. But I was going to say they filmed it around the corner from where I think it's Niall from the Bat Minute podcast. I think it's him. Yeah, it was. I think it was him. Well, it was where he works, and he
We
was
love them, by the way.
he was telling us about some shenanigans going on. Like he worked in the library, and it was like filled with smoke from the filming outside, and they were just like, "Well, we can't work today. We've all been poisoned."
Shall we get to the topic of today's show?
Yes, let's do it. So, what did we decide we were talking about?
So, we are going to be talking about some of the darkest moments in Justice League.
Mm.
And that's including JLAS.
Is it? I thought we were just talking about Justice League.
No, it's also including JLAS.
Oh, okay.
So, there is a big thing.
Justice League Unlimited, I meant, sorry.
Yeah. There is a big thing when it comes to the main thing that I'm going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk about it because we are going through not the exact same thing, obviously, because aliens from outer space aren't coming in and, demanding things, which would probably be a lot easier in better than American politics. But I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about how dark it is at the moment, in terms of like the world.
Okay.
So I'm going to start off with that.
All right. You go first then.
So the main thing that I've written down is war is dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking about the Thanagarian War, which is the main topic of today because it deals with a lot of the show. A lot of this show is based around Hawkgirl. And Hawkgirl was originally sent this way, because she was trying to get like intelligence and stuff to be able to give back to the Thanagarians and um, eventually destroy the Earth
Yeah.
for the gain of the Thanagarians.
Mm-hmm.
You can look back at any decade in probably in history, in recent history, I should say, where something like this isn't happening. Like we're not. I mean that it would be a hard thing to not find, and it sucks that it's happening again when it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And taking something away from people for other gains that will, help your people, um isn't always the best welcome gift that you could give.
No, he's not.
um and doing it in a way where it, you know they didn't actually explicitly say it until they had to,
Mm-hmm.
and that sucks, but it's something that's happening in the real world as well.
Yeah, and I think the thing that kind of adds to the unpleasantness, let's put it, of the Thanagarian invasion is that they presented it as peacekeeping,
Yeah.
as coming to protect people, protect us from Gordanians, when the Gordanians weren't ever there. They planted a fake pilot in the ship. He'd been dead for a long time. And their real intention, rather than creating a shield to protect the people of Earth, was to actually blow it up to create a, what do they call it, a hyperspace bypass, so that they could get their troops to the front line
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah. And again, it's the gains for the people that they think justifies what they're doing, but it doesn't justify it. It's getting rid of a planet that has billions of people, whether
Yeah.
those people are from outer space or from, different, you know, galaxies. There's still billions of people.
Well, that's the argument that I've forgotten the general's name. He's basically their version of home.
Hector.
Hector, yeah, of Hawkman, and he said Homelander. Then don't know why. I haven't even watched The Boys yet. Um, that's the argument he makes. He says, "Well, look, the choice is between the humans and the Thanagarians, and I'm always going to pick the Thanagarians, no matter what."
Hmm.
And that's like the delicious moral um, complexity of Hawkgirl's situation, because she's torn between the both, and in the end, she decides to sacrifice her own people.
Hmm. And it's a hard thing to do, and it's such a shitty thing you have to do.
Yeah,
Um, if you will, it's dark.
yeah,
And it's one of, the darkest things a person would have to do. It's like Sophia's Choice, or is it Sophie's Choice?
Sophie's
Sophie's
choice,
Sophie's Choice.
I think.
Um, anyways, the Meryl Streep film, where she has to choose one of the children
Hmm.
to survive, and what do you do? Like, what would I mean? I know what I would do in that situation, but I'm also very uh, this is something I've thought out, even if this is just a TV show. Um, it sucks because how do you know you've made the right decision? How can you make that decision? And what about the people that just aren't? It's not just the people that are close to you. It's how many Thanagarians were there? They didn't actually say, did they?
Billions.
Yeah. So it's either lose billions of people this way or lose billions of people this way.
Hmm.
And you don't really have any real in between unless you're Hawkgirl. Because Hawkgirl did it. She made the ultimate choice. And fortunately, it was, it seems like the right choice, but we don't know much about the Thanagarians after that, do we?
Well, we know that they suffer massive losses.
But in terms of, you know, billions,
Yeah, and their empire is effectively destroyed.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it might seem like a good choice, but is it actually a good choice?
Well, here's the argument, I suppose, isn't it? Because they got themselves into that war with the Gordanians, and and when I say we, I mean the humans of the show, had nothing to do with it. So don't really see why humanity should be sacrificed.
Yeah, and let's look at this in a different way. If this were in our real time, on our real timeline, and oh wait, it is. um, so something like this is happening in a few different places around the world. But when it comes to where I'm from, um, it seems that a lot of people, I mean, this is my opinion, by the way. This isn't, I know a lot of people have different political affiliations and all of that. I'm not really getting into that. I'm just giving my thoughts on war itself and the country that I've come from, which is the States. I think the States are greedy, and I think you shouldn't take what's not yours. And just because somebody politely said no to you does not mean you need to go gung ho and, you know, take it by force. Um, Unfortunately, that's happened so many times just since I've been alive. Since the no, since the late 80s, and so much more before that. Um, to the point that my ancestors and a lot of people that are from the States ancestors, what happened there? Hmm? Maybe some of your ancestors came over there
Yeah, they might have done.
and took it just because they wanted it. And my point is that this is a shitty, dark situation. And it's something, the reason why to me, I thought about making this the main part of the podcast today is the fact that this happens in the real world on a daily basis. We can
Hmm.
check the news, and depending on what news website you're looking at, it says this is the bad guy, but no, this is the bad guy. But no, we know what is right and what is wrong. We were taught this in kindergarten. Even before then, we knew not to touch the stove when it's hot. Unfortunately, I listened and I knew it was wrong, but I still put my hand on the stove. Um, but we know what's right from wrong, and taking something that isn't yours is wrong.
Hmm.
Even if you are trying to, just outright taking it is just not the answer. What the Thanagarians should have done was asked for help. As in like help as in like how do you think what would be a better way? Is there a different way to accommodate both of us rather than just, oh, we're going to destroy this. We're going to lie to you first. Second, we're going to destroy it. And third, bye. I think in the world, we all need to just understand that sometimes we need to ask for help, and other times we're going to want stuff like a lot of, nice things. But sometimes we're not going to get it
Hmm.
because it's not ours to take. So yeah, I think about this is, how like people say like, oh, that's my Roman Empire.
Hmm.
This is sometimes that.
You're going to change it to that's my Thanagarian Empire.
I could. I could. Although I don't think men think of the Romans as much as everybody thinks they
I
do.
certainly don't.
Yeah. Do I think of Batman like that? Yeah. Yes, I do. I do. So yeah.
So I think that actually that's an interesting take on what we were referring to as dark. I don't think people would be expecting you to open with that.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably be talking about like something that I put down on my list.
Oh. But no, it is dark. It's such a deplorable thing, but it's one of the darkest things about it is the fact that this is something that is happening in our world, in our time, right now,
Yeah.
on our planet. And just because, you know, they're not, aliens from outer space, um, it doesn't make it right.
Hmm.
And there are so many innocent people that, that thing that teachers used to say, when like somebody would pass away or some devastating thing happened. Well, actually, I don't know if everybody went through this, but I didn't I was a totally different city than Oklahoma City. I was the city right beside it when the 95 bombing happened. And I remember my teacher that I had put the TV in there, by the way, so we could see all of the devastating things that were happening, which I don't know if I agree with or not. But when she heard about the children, um, and heard unfortunately the deaths of the children, she said this, and it resonates in my mind every time I think about something like this, like really dark moments that involve, you know, not just like adults and whatever, that involves everybody. One of those kids could have cured cancer. One of those kids could have cured AIDS. One of those kids could be saving your life right now.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they don't get the chance to do that because somebody took that chance from them. But I think about that, and I think about her saying that, and I've heard other people say it too. And when you think of something about a cartoon, you don't necessarily think of deep moments like this. But I do. And it's such, I think it was quite an important thing for people to, especially the time that this storyline was out, what was happening.
Yes, War on Terror.
Yeah, quote unquote. Um, and it's so important that this cartoon, this animated show was on Cartoon Network, right?
I think so.
Yeah. A channel mainly for children was teaching something so true that as adults we now still think about it.
Hmm.
Because that's how some kids learned what the true sacrifice of war actually is. And there is no winner. And I think when we return to Hawk Girl after this happens, you do truly see that because the guilt that she has for helping this almost happen gets to her.
Hmm.
It ruins her, which is why she, had a complete, not breakdown. I don't think she had a breakdown, but that character completely was crumbled
Yeah.
and had to piece everything together because she had no idea where she belonged, who she was, or why she even made the decisions that she did. And I think a lot of people that have known people to participate in war, unwillingly or not, most of the time it's unwillingly, you'll see bits and pieces of that,
Hmm.
and they'll try to hide it. And fortunately, we live in a day and age where PTSD is an actual thing. It is something that happens to people, and it is not something to be ashamed about. And it's not just the war doesn't just happen on the dates the textbooks say it does.
Hmm.
People like Hawk Girl, who was participating in the war, will have lifelong struggle because of that.
Yeah, apparently I had a great uncle who fought in one of the wars. I think it was World War Two, but it might have been the First World War, probably World War Two. But he was never the same when he came back. He spent the rest of his life sat in a dark room by himself, periodically coming out, to see people, but mostly kept himself to himself. Apparently completely ruined him. That's what my granddad said. Um, so yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's it's probably the darkest thing on this entire list that we've made, which is a short list. It could have been a lot bigger, but um I can only take so much for one day.
Well, I'll move on to my first one then. So I didn't really come at this from like a philosophical perspective. I was just like, oh yeah, this is literally dark, and that is the episode Eclipsed.
Hmm.
It's literally dark. That's supposed to be my joke entry, but it is a little bit dark. So again, it involves conflict. So it's humanity in its war with snake-like people called the Ophidians, centuries, even millennia ago.
Hmm.
Humanity was on the verge of winning, so the Ophidians did black magic and bound their souls inside of a black diamond. And if anyone touches the black diamond, they become possessed by the Ophidians. I nearly said obsidians then. That's obviously
Playing Minecraft.
well, that's obviously the play on the word there, isn't it? Obsidian and Ophidian.
Hmm.
Um, and they plan to basically destroy the sun and kill everyone on Earth. And there's a really good scene where through a series of events, the Justice League members have been possessed, or at least one of them has been at the time. Um, I forget which one it was. I only did a video about this recently. I think it was Green Lantern had been possessed, and they get the black diamond off of him, and it's on the floor. And they're like, "Okay, we need to figure out what to do with this." And Hawkgirl goes, "I've got a solution. I'm going to just smash it, and then it'll never do this again." And she smacks the diamond with her hammer. It explodes into a million pieces. But then that means that everyone in the room gets coated in the shards of the black diamond, and they are all possessed apart from the Flash, who managed to avoid them.
It's like the scene in Mean Girls when she does the crown. She just rips apart the crown and hands it to everybody. But a different way.
I see. I don't remember that scene, but it has been what 25 years since I've seen Mean
Watched.
Girls. Yeah, I watched it when it came out, ish, like a couple of years after it came out. But anyway, and then the Flash gets stalked by the Justice League through a dimly lit watchtower. So that was actually quite sinister and dark, and their whole scheme of destroying all life on Earth in vengeance is pretty dark and grim.
Hmm.
They launch this. It's essentially like an anti-nuke device that kind of absorbs all energy. They launch it into the sun, and you can just see the sun going black. It gets blotted out, and all the people on Earth are panicking. And the way the Justice League saves the day is they end up having the Flash sprinting out to the sun on a track laid by Green Lantern, and he throws a counter device in to reignite the sun. But that was pretty dark. It was quite sinister, and there were some comments on my video, people saying how scary they found that episode when they were little, which I find a little quaint. But
People are scared of different things. I mean,
yeah,
how can I judge people on being afraid of that when I have a phobia of puppets,
hmm
even if they're drawn in a cartoon.
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah.
so that one is pretty dark
It
in
is pretty dark.
in a way.
Yeah, in a way.
um, let's talk about Amazo.
Okay, so what's the darkness with the Mazo then?
Well, this comes to uh kind of a thing that I've noticed about myself actually, especially when I was younger, that unfortunately people will use you, and it's not a pretty pleasant thing. But with Amazo, although I relate to this in a way, definitely not as powerful as Amazo, not even in the slightest. Um, it just really sucked seeing that. And again, this cartoon um dealt with some really real things in a fictional way, and this is one of them. It's you can't trust everybody around you, and you can't, sometimes the person you're closest to will hurt you the most.
Don't I know
Who's hurt you?
it? I'm joking.
No, it's so sad when I think about this, because it was just, Amazo was made to be amazing.
He
And
was.
yet
It's in the name.
Luthor almost broke him,
Yeah.
or them. I'm gonna say them. Almost broke them, and that just goes to show how cruel the world is, and how cruel humanity actually are. But then one of the darkest parts of this is what happens at the end of the entire series.
Which bit are you referring to?
You cannot have the ending of the Justice Leagues, whether that's Justice League or Justice League Unlimited, without Luthor and Amazo.
I can see why you say that about Luther, but I don't see why you say that about Amazo.
But you needed that, like Luthor needed that realization that he can't always get what he wants by using people. Because he gets help at the end from, not the end of this episode in particular, but
Mm.
in the whole entire series, he gets help in the end from the Justice League because he didn't, menacingly use them.
I think that was more driven by spite, though, because he wanted to be reunited with Brainiac, and Darkseid stole
Hmm.
that from him. And
Yeah,
he's like, well, I can't beat Darkseid on my own, so I'm going to go and see Superman.
yeah.
And I'm going to explain to Superman what has happened,
But
and
I think,
we will work together.
yeah, but I think Luthor, it would have been a completely different thing in my head if he hadn't learned a lesson from using Amazo the way that he did.
Hmm.
You don't agree?
I don't think he did necessarily learn the lesson because he was very afraid of Amazo initially.
Hmm.
Remember in the episode The Return when, surprise, surprise, Amazo returns and the lengths that Luther goes to avoid him. And then when Amazo just breezes through his defenses and he's cowering there.
But see, I see that differently because, yes, he was afraid of him, but I think he knew that because he used them, Amazo, if he tried to do it again, he'd kill him.
Oh, yeah, he wouldn't use Amazo again, but I don't think he would have done anything. It would have changed how he treated other people because he continued being involved with Cadmus and ended
Yeah.
up getting taken over by Brainiac. I think, if anything, the thing that taught Lex Luthor something was being absorbed by or breaking through the source wall. And that's where he found the anti-life equation. That's where he went to Darkseid and he said, "Yes, this is beautiful, isn't it? Touch it." And he did, and they both
So yeah,
destroyed.
that's pretty cool that we can both have a different
Oh yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong.
takeaway from it, which is awesome. But yeah, that was my takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, sometimes you think to yourself, like, can Luthor actually be human enough to not just I don't even know, I don't know how to finish that thought. As in, like, can he be human enough to treat people with dignity and respect? And when I say people, I'm also involving like
Mm-hmm.
everyone. It's including sentinels and everything. Um, but yeah, and also the main point about Amazo is the fact that I've been used a lot in my life by people, especially before I moved over here. And it really sucks when you realize that people weren't actually your friends, or even if they were family, that they didn't actually see something in you that was relatable. They saw something in you that they could use for whatever purposes. Um, it's devastating and it makes you feel um awful.
Mm-hmm.
And I have felt that many times in my life, and Amazo is one of my heroes. But yeah, that's the whole thing about it. Yeah. So, do you have another thing?
I do, and this is one that a lot of people mentioned in the comments on the last episode when we said that this was the topic, and of course it's going to be Doctor Destiny, and specifically the way that he murdered his wife. Or yeah, no, I think she was his wife. I think she was his wife. And she was leaving him for another man while he was locked up in prison. Doctor Destiny, John D. Um, he essentially traps her in a nightmare with his new nightmare powers, and she is essentially scared to death.
Mm-hmm.
She's just left there in almost in a coma, but screaming until the point that she just drops dead.
Yeah.
And that was really horrible. And there's lots of nasty imagery in that episode, like when he goes into her dream for the first time. He is presented as his normal self, and he explains that he's got power now. Things are going to be different, and he's not going to forgive her for infidelity. And his clothes transform into that Skeletor-looking outfit, the blue gown, and the skin peels off of his face, revealing the skull. Uh, that's just a very a dark image right there. It's just generally unpleasant and horrible and ripe for talking about in Halloween or around Halloween time, I reckon.
You reckon?
I do reckon, yes.
You reckon? You reckon? You
I
reckon?
do.
Anybody name that show?
No.
It's Family Guy.
But
Should we
yeah.
get to the last one now?
Oh, so we're speed running mine. Okay, we'll go to your last one.
Because if you want to talk more about yours, that's
No, it's
fine.
fine. I'll do a video about it later on.
Yeah.
As I said, probably in October.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I was like, huh,
You're just
yeah.
tired of hearing about me.
I'm not.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. The last thing we're going to talk about is Grundy.
Specifically, what with Solomon Grundy?
His death. and who, well,
Yeah.
his second death, or his third technically.
Technically third
Yeah,
death, yes.
technically his third death, and who has to do it.
Yeah.
Um, so I will always have a place in my heart for this iteration of Grundy, because I don't know why I connected with this character. I just loved it. And it's such a sad story that involves dark arts. But the main part of the darkness is that I take from it is the fact that Hawk Girl took it upon herself to end Grundy, because she knew, first off, it had to be with her mace, didn't it?
Yeah.
Um, she knew the consequences of anyone's actions when they would do it, as in like guilt,
Yes.
and she knew she could handle it because of everything else that had happened, and she put that on herself because she didn't want other people to have to deal with some of the stuff she's already dealt with.
There's also the fact that Grundy was her friend.
Yeah, her good friend.
Yeah. And
Bird face.
yes, bird nose.
Bird nose.
And the fact that she would put him out of his misery fairly quickly. And it was actually a very sad moment
It really
because
was.
Grundy was genuinely hurt. He had been revived from the grave by people not really
He didn't
realizing.
want to be.
Well, yeah, and they didn't realize what they were doing, and they brought him back as a foaming at the mouth monster, which is not who Grundy normally is. So Grundy was very unhappy in his existence, and he accepted that Hawkgirl was going to euthanize him. It's a very, very sad moment where he's kind of looking her in the mouth, still drooling from his, foaming, angry mouth.
Hmm.
But he sighs and bows his head to her as if to say, "Do it."
Yeah. He gives her permission.
Yeah. And it was, I know it was, censorship rules at the time. They couldn't show Hawkgirl like bashing his skull in.
Nor would I want to see it.
No, but it's far more powerful to see her like just charge up the
Yeah, the mace.
the mace, lift it above her head, and then cut to the outside with Green Lantern going, "She's been down there for too long. I'm going to go and help her." And then she just comes flying out. Like, it's
It's the
done.
it's the sullen look on the face as well.
Yeah.
Um, Anybody that would ever, I can't. I'm sure there is a reason somebody would do that to somebody else, but it can't be a decision that would be taken lightly. And again, we go back to the war is dark.
Yeah.
And I specifically wanted to end with this is because, again, PTSD is a real thing that people have because of what has happened to them, whether that's war or something else. Significant things go on in one's head. And sometimes, in darker times, those people will sacrifice themselves in order for other people not to have to go through what they're going through. We've seen it time and time again in news stories and, you know, documentaries about people that had horrific lives, and they sacrificed their own peace because they knew what the consequences of their actions would be. And that itself is one of the darkest things
Mm-hmm.
um, to have to do, is to sacrifice something like your own peace, um, humanity, your own dignity, um, whether this person lives, whether this person doesn't. It's dark, having to make that choice. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to end with Grundy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the Thanagarian War if this show would have gone on for even like a long, long, long time, I think the writers of this show would have done a great job at showing that that Thanagarian war still raged on in the heads of the people that went through it.
They did, yes.
And it sucks that I watched this for the first time. Was I 19 or 20? I can't
Mm,
remember. But I watched it later in my teens or early 20s, and it still took me. Like, it took my heart. Or the Grundy one, it was when I was 21.
mhm.
But the first couple of seasons of Justice League I watched then, but I hadn't been living here. But oh my gosh, it takes your heart, your mind, it takes you to a very deep place. And then growing up, like I'm a millennial, so you'll know what's gone on, with all of this, with all of the tragedies, with the attacks, the um serialization of monsters in this world, because of the internet and all of that. It's
And true crime podcasts.
Yeah, that's the main thing I was trying to think about. But we feel that on no, I don't think it's on a deeper level. It's on a different level than other people um that didn't grow up with less sensory on the internet, I should say. Because there are pictures from some of those events that I don't think anybody should ever see,
Mhm.
that I saw because of Rotten.com. Unfortunately, uh, my my not so innocent eyes saw those things. But yeah, it sucks, and yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Okay. So I guess all there is to do now is to thank people for listening.
Yeah.
Uh,
And again, I apologize that it was late this week because of my illness.
well, if you found yourself listening along to this and screaming, saying, "I can't believe you didn't talk about blah 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 blah," share it in the comments, and we'll read it out in the next episode of Totally Schway Flipside.
Yeah.
Next time when we come back.
Hey, 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 hey. This is my podcast. This isn't Serum Lake's
Yeah, I
podcast.
know.
There will be no next time on.
I don't
I'm
say
joking.
next time.
I'm
I
joking.
just say next
Next
time.
time.
But do you want to hear what we're talking about? I mean, I told you weeks ago, but you may not remember. Do you remember what we're talking about?
I don't remember what I had for breakfast, and I have the same breakfast every day.
That's why I started to say it, because I knew you wouldn't remember. We're going to talk about an episode of Superman the Animated Series, because it's been a while since we talked about Superman specifically.
So Gilgamesh is sitting at the window with the sunshine on his ears, and it's just so majestic and beautiful. And what episode of Estas are we going to be talking about?
We're going to talk about the one that introduced Green Lantern in Blackest Night.
Raise your hand, by the way, if you didn't know I had ADHD.
And she raises her hand. The thing is that we're probably going to focus on is, it's funny, when we discussed this episode, you were like, "I don't remember Jon Stewart being in that episode," and I said, "Yeah, he wasn't." You went, "Wait a minute, there was another Green Lantern before him." Oh no, 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 no!
No, I said that was a different Green Lantern. Didn't I? I
You
would
should say that
never not
afterwards.
know. I would never not know that Jon Stewart wasn't. Yeah, never. Doesn't sound like me at all.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I hope all of y'all have a really good week. I'm gonna say it again, and I'm probably gonna say it every podcast. Please wear your sunscreen. It's important. Drink a lot of water, and just please be kind to yourself.
And other people.
And other people, because I think one of the reasons I wasn't feeling so great recently is because I have not been being kind to myself and listening to myself about the things that weren't going well. So yeah, listen to yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to other people. Wear at least an SPF with a 30. And if you're wondering, yes, Garnier do a really great one. Not sponsored, but Garnier, you're a great cruelty-free company if you'd like to sponsor me. Garnier do a really great one. It's not very expensive, and it's the one I use. So I love you guys, and I'll talk to you Sunday. I had to remember what day we want the podcast up. Oh, I love you guys. Bye.